Hello and welcome to the Violet Sessions. My name is Gavin,
I'm Kyle Mbaha.
and this is a podcast about music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about rediscovering music and trying to introduce ourselves to new music.
Yeah, it's basically like trying to do a 21st century version of, dude, have you heard this?
Yeah, something like that. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
And we, full disclosure, like we have tried this before. Like we did do sort of like a ground zero episode.
Yeah.
Which we're gonna release at some point. I think
Yeah.
people should see it. This is something that we're doing to try and tighten it up a little bit and just try and do an improved version of it. But basically, how this podcast came about was I was having a few drinks and listening to music and listening to old music, and I was wondering, like, I just kind of noticed that I wasn't discovering music the same way that I used to when I was younger. And then I messaged you. I was like, "Do you have time in your life for another podcast?"
It was like pretty much in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, sure.
It came to me.
And like to talk about like when we did try before, because it really made me realize like, holy shit, I miss pirate radio.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because listening to that, I was like, this is kind of like a pirate radio show. And the
bit.
format that we did it was, we talked whilst listening to the song, which in this day and age, in every format that we could put it out, we would just keep getting copyright strike after copyright strike. So, but we still want to figure out a way so that people can listen to the song whilst, and listen to us, at least in an order.
Yeah, and also I found that we were doing the thing that I generally, hate when DJs do, is like, DJs will like play a song and they'll turn the volume down so they can talk over it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop, don't ever do that again.
I mean, that was the point of the show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like to talk about music, and then it was this weird thing where then the song comes on and it's like you start talking over it.
Unless it was a song where it's like, it just encapsulated us and then we just didn't say shit. And then that was kind of boring as well because the music wasn't played at full volume. So
Yeah, but I mean, part of the point of the podcast is like, aside from us kind of rediscovering stuff, is that we want to hopefully introduce people to stuff they haven't heard before as well. So if you haven't heard the song before, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying if we're talking over it.
when it's muted as well. Like if you mute it, then it's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
What moment is
Yeah.
this? Like, this is a good bit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I didn't know. You guys were talking over it. So we're not going to do that.
No. Instead, we'll talk about the stuff, we'll introduce the tracks, and then we'll play the track. And if you're watching this on YouTube, they'll be laid out in a playlist. So just pop it on, let it set to play. Don't press shuffle. It'll fuck everything up. Just listen to it in order, and hopefully it'll make sense.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So what we've
Thank
done
you for
is,
coming on this journey with us.
Exactly. So what we've done is we split it up into a bunch of different categories, right? We got forgotten classics.
Soundtracks.
Before that, we got soundtracks because we're both very much into movies. We're both in the movie industry. So of course, soundtracks is a big part of our lives. Forgotten classics, maybe songs that, to us are a classic, but people, have lost touch with it, or maybe no one's heard of it.
Or maybe they forgot about it and it kind of remind you of it. It's like, oh shit, I haven't heard that in ages.
Exactly. Then there's local music, and by local we mean Malaysia, because we're both based in Malaysia, for anyone who happens to be hearing this outside of Malaysia. Then weird and obscure,
Yep.
right? Just tracks that are a little bit odd. And finally, new tracks. And by new, we mean new to us.
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily have to come out like this year or
Yeah.
anything. It could, as long as it's like new to us, like we're hearing it for the first time, or we've only just discovered it.
Because our fingers are not on the pulse. We're
Not at all. We are old uncles.
both over 40, dressed like 15-year-olds from the 90s. So, pretty much.
Yep.
But yeah. So I think that's pretty much the intro, right?
Pretty much. Thank you for watching / listening. Let's get on it.